Hi everyone, welcome to the blog. Please like, please subscribe, please share the videos. Right, hopefully, let me just have a look. Right, so I'm actually going to chat. I haven't heard back from immigration. We're on 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There's no music. There could be music anytime, so I'll cut the video and I'll have to do it tonight. So, don't know why there's no music. Looks like everyone's off. So it's quiet in the barangay, in the province. So, I haven't heard back actually from immigration. Don't know why. Sent them 3, 4 emails. Sent them to my email address where I get emails every day. So I know my email address is actually working. Right, so scams in the Philippines, but scams I've experienced. So I actually came here third time here in the Philippines, guys. So I think I first came here 2018, 2019, and that was the first time. So we'll go with the second time. So the second time I was here, I actually landed in Manila. So I went Manchester Airport, Doha, Qatar, Manila. So I got to Manila. As soon as I had a little problem in the airport with all the forms, and I was the last out of basically last out of departure. So, I came through, got through, and thought, wow, I'm here. I'm here in the Philippines, which for me, it was great. An adventure. So it was really good for me to get back to the Philippines. So, now then, no, this is actually the first time I came to the Philippines, not the second time. So the first time. So I actually thought it was the second time. Thinking about it, the first time I hit Manila, Doha, Qatar, Manila. And, as soon as I walked through them doors, it was like from England going to Spain. You've got that heat wave that just hits you and you think, wow, it's really hot. It's really crazy hot in Manila. And that's what it was like. So what I actually did, I had to find my hotel. Now, my hotel was in Passy. The lady in Barnsley, what she said was, oh, your hotel's not very far from the airport. Because the idea was 2 days in Manila. Then I'm going to fly here to Negros Occidental, right? So I'm going to fly here to Negros. And that didn't happen. That's a long, long story. It never happened. And that 2 years later, I managed to get here to Negros. So I'm in Manila. As soon as I got in Manila, I'd heard about the scams. I basically knew a lot about the scams, but the scams I experienced, walks over to a van, started to chat to people, what I saw around that looked native, hi miss, hello sir, could you help me to get to this hotel? Is there a bus? Is there a taxi? Now, I knew about taxis in the Philippines before I ever came to the Philippines. So what I actually did is I went up to this taxi. This lady said, oh yes sir, if you go to the taxi here, he will take you to your hotel. So anyway, goes up to this taxi, we're a taxi van, and I went, hi hello, can you tell me where this is and can you tell me how much the fare is? Oh, get in sir. I says, no, I won't get in, how much is the fare? I already know before I even got to the Philippines, like I said. Oh, get in sir, yeah, I can take you to this. I says, how much is the fare? Same again, it were over 5,000 pesos, 6,000 pesos. And straight away I knew. I thought, well, the girl said, the hotel is really near to the airport. And she told me in meters how far it was. And I thought, if it comes to it, I'll just walk there. But it were more than a couple of kilometres from where I was, the hotel in Passy City. It was, I'm guessing, maybe I would say at least 3-4 kilometres away, at least 4 or 5 kilometres, more like it. And I said to the guy, how much? 5,000 pesos. I said no, walked off. And then I walked down. It's like you come out to the airport, doers like me, walking straight out, straight across. All the taxis are there. So I walked across, and then I bumped into another lady, another girl. And I said, "Hi, miss." I says, what's the best way, how's the best way for me to get to this place? It's my hotel in Passy. Oh, there's a bus here, sir. It'll cost you, but it doesn't go to Passy City, to this address. It doesn't go to this hotel, but it goes to the Great Mall of Asia. And it's about one pound, not £1.30. It's about 130 pesos. So I think it were even less than 130 pesos, but thereabouts 130, 150 pesos, not 6,000 pesos. And this will come apparent when I get into Cebu, and I'll chat about Cebu in another video, right? And same scams in Cebu. But like I said, lot of nice people here in the Philippines, lot of nice people in Cebu and Manila. So I jumps on this bus and I'm looking at this address and I'm thinking, now I wonder how I'm going to get to this address. I wonder if I can actually get directions and walk while I'm sat on this bus. But the lady already told me the bus dropped. The bus will drop you at the back of the Great Mall of Asia, sir. So I said, okay, and you can go from there. So I had a chat with the bus driver. I'll drop you at the back of the Great Mall of Asia, sir. I'll let you know when we get there. And I chatted to this girl actually before I actually got on the bus. And when I was on the bus, I actually chatted to the bus driver. Then I walked up the bus and I saw this girl. And I said, hi, hello, miss. Are you going anywhere near this address, near this place? Oh no, sir, I'm going to the back of the Great Mall of Asia. I have a room there. I actually work here in the airport. This was like 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, when I actually came out of the doors in the airport of Manila. So I don't know what terminal it is. I think I flew back. In Terminal 3. So landing, I might be Terminal 1. So I think Terminal 3 I actually flew back to England when I actually left the Philippines. But, you know, I'm dropped off now and I'm chatting to this girl. Oh no, sir. So the bus stops, I went up and said, is this the Great Mall of Asia? Yeah, this is it, sir. This is as far as we go. So I got off the bus and I'm looking at the Great Mall of Asia, looking around. I'm at the back of the Great Mall of Asia. And I thought, right, where are we? So I'm sure I'm a long, long way off my hotel. And I saw the girl walking down the road. So I actually run after the girl. I went, this is the girl I've just chatted to on the bus. I went, hi miss, could you help me to actually, I'd pay the girl, no problem. I would pay the girl to help me, just to give me directions. I'd pay the girl. I know people are poor in the Philippines, and at this time and stage, I could give 100 peso tip, 200, 300, 500 peso tip. It was no big deal, but I was still on a budget, and I was here for 2 months, but I was still on a budget, right? We have to work in England and we have to save. So it took me 2 years to save to come to the Philippines. So I'm on a budget, okay. And, no sir, I don't know. And I'm chatting to him and saying, okay, thanks miss, but I'll actually phone you a grab taxi. And next minute, bump. And this guy, drug addict, could tell he was a drug addict, could see it in him, could tell, could everything about him was a drug addict. he were on probably hard drugs, and he started giving it the big one to the girl, and the girl says, wow, says, you know, sir, I'm from Leyte, I'm from the province of Leyte, and I fear my own people here in Manila. Says, I really fear Manila, I fear the people here in Manila. It's very dangerous here. And I went, do you want me to take you to your room? I can take you to your room, I can take you to your hotel. She went, no sir, it's okay, thank you. I'm just looking at the time. There'll be a second video to this one. So what happened was, she phoned me a grab taxi, really nice girl from Leyte. I think that was 2018, 2019. And the taxi came, jumped in the back of the taxi, waved to the girl. So this guy, drug addict, get her one of them, started giving her some lip. And she told me, very dangerous here in Manila, sir. And I thought, yeah, I've gathered. So as soon as I hit Manila, I just hit everything. Everything I hit, right? I didn't jump in the 5,000-6,000 peso taxi. I have to work hard for my money. I'm not just going to give someone 500 quid just to take me 5 kilometres up the road, right? I'm not going to do that. So I ended up paying about 130 pesos, 150 pesos on the bus. Right, might have even been a little bit cheaper on the bus. So you know what happened was, taxi driver came along and I saw the girl walking off and I waved. Really nice girl, and pretty girl, nice girl, very very helpful girl, lovely person, lot of nice people in the Philippines. Right, we'll make it clear. So you know what happened then, guys? I jumped in this taxi. I said, yeah, and the girl said something to the taxi driver. And I know about white taxis here in the Philippines. And you know, I gave him the thing. They went, yes, sir. I think we must have been about 3 kilometres away from the back of the Great Mall of Asia. I would say 3 or 4 kilometres. It was late at night, and as I remember, it probably would have been about that distance. And well, it was early morning. So I'm driving, and I'm chatting to the taxi driver, and he took me, and he went round the back of this hotel, and he went round the back, drove to the front, and the streets were empty. And I thought, is this it? And it didn't look like an hotel, like it were a guest house actually, not an hotel. Anyway, I went into the gate, there were security on there, and the taxi driver said, sir, could you please give me a bit more money, I've got kids, I work hard. I said, oh, yeah. So I gave him, as I remember, I gave him all my change and a couple of 100 peso, and he went, oh, thank you, thank you very much. And I went, and off he went, and then I went into the hotel. So basically, the nasty scam is actually coming up. So anyway, I've got Facebook friends. One of the friends, I met 2 girls, so I met 2 ladies, okay, and one was the girlfriend. She became my girlfriend, and the other one now, she's passed away. So she got cancer and she passed away. You know, some people here in the Philippines have a very hard life, okay, but just life, sad things happen, you know. Anyway, so went upstairs, went into my room. I think I managed to fall asleep. Maybe 4 hours later, I was up. I actually got something to eat. And then I went to try and get a SIM card. I'll skip the SIM card, but I went to get a SIM card. But you know what I will actually tell you, I went to get this SIM card and didn't know how to put it in my phone. I didn't even know how to work the phone, right? So it's up to you whether you make your silly comments about that or not. I didn't know how to work the phone. If somebody were phoning me, I would hitting the button and I was turning them off. I didn't know how to work the phone. And the phone I had before that, it was like an housebreak. So I weren't really into phones. But I bought a phone just to come to the Philippines. So this was morning, I had something to eat. Looked out of the window, I could hear beep, 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 beep. And I looked out of the window. Wow, it was just tons and tons of traffic. And I thought, wow, this is it. This is the real Philippines. You know, this is the real Philippines you actually see if you're watching NFILM, a film, right? So I got this SIM card and I'm chatting to the girl in the shop. Where my guest house was, there was a flyover. So I had to walk around the market, walked over the flyover, and there was a woman there with a little baby, all in rags. Baby were in rags, very, very, very poor, and they were just asleep there. And I gave him a bit of coin. Can't remember if I bought him something to eat. I gave him a bit of coin. And there were a police officer stood at the side of them chatting to a guy. And she were on the steps as you go down the steps. So she were on the steps asleep with this little baby. I thought, wow, not very good at all. Very, very poor. You know, really sad life. And I got the SIM card. The girl at the shop, she didn't understand a word I said. So I took the SIM card. The girl's in the guest house. It weren't a guest house, it were an hotel actually, not a guest house. And the girls at the hotel actually said to me, I said, Miss, I bought this SIM card. I don't know how to put it in the phone. Can you help me? So she said, yes, sir. And she put it in the phone. And I says, how do I connect it? And she did it. She connected it all to Wi-Fi in the hotel. So she connected it to the Wi-Fi in the hotel. And we were ready to go. So, you know, I went onto Facebook, sent a message to my friends. Hi, hello, I'm here in Manila. They didn't believe me. Sent a couple of pictures. Then they believed me. And, oh, would you like to meet at the Great Mall of Asia? I think at 1 o'clock. I've done a blog about this before, so some of you guys may have seen this blog before, similar. Right, so you know, oh yeah, I said, I'll meet you at 1 o'clock, Great Mall of Asia. Anyway, it's really early in the morning, I can't remember, it's 7, 8 o'clock, whatever time it was. And I'm sat there on my Facebook, and my phone kept ringing, and I kept pressing the wrong button, and it was taking the call off. Then it kept ringing, and I managed to hit the correct button. I went, hello, oh yeah, I know, didn't know how to work a phone. And now I'm actually editing all my videos, and I've learned how to edit videos, so I can actually go on my phone, and most problems on the phone I can now do. At first, I did not have a clue how to work a phone. Right, so it's me that edits the videos. So anyway, it come to about 10 o'clock and I'm thinking, well, I've got to, I went and got my SIM card and had to walk around this market. And there's always somebody what's going to make a joke, because you're a foreigner, so it's Joe. A lot of people won't like you being a foreigner. One, because you've got money. Two, because you're white. And then there's a lot of people that actually will like you. But there's a saying here in the Philippines, and a lot of people actually say this to me, sir, be very careful who you trust. Right, so you know, I had to walk around the market and went back up to the hotel, and I'm in the hotel, and in a couple of days' time, I'm wanting to book a ticket to fly here to Negros, to fly to Murcia, so to fly to Bacolod City, or Dumaguete, wherever actually I were going to land. Don't forget, I'm a stranger here. Dumaguete, Murcia, Bacolod. You know, I didn't know where they were on the map. You know, I didn't know if they were close together or far away, which they were actually far away from each other. So I'm there, this is about 10 o'clock, and phone rings, hello. Ah, we're at the Great Mall of Asia. I thought, well, it were either 10, 11 o'clock. I thought, well, it's only 10, 11 o'clock. We're here now at the Great Mall of Asia. Right, there's a part 2 coming up. So what I did, I'm new in the Philippines. I jumped up, got my stuff, run downstairs, past the security guard, and the hotel is smack on the main road. And this guy saw me and he stopped, and I jumped on this tricycle and we shot off. We're going to the Great Mall of Asia to meet the 2 friends. And we shot off, and this guy, actually, I'm very streetwise. I come from Barnsley, UK, England. I'm very streetwise. I grew up on the streets as a kid. As parents were poor, as mums, as dads, worked in the pits, had very hard lives, like a lot of you guys that come from England. So, we were poor in England, like you are in the Philippines now, a lot of you. Right, not all here, very rich place, the Philippines. So, this guy on this tricycle, I saw him when he went around in this circle, and he's chatting to about 5 guys, and I didn't like that, because I knew he was chatting about me, and I knew there was something not right. I knew that I've got a sixth sense, right? So if you ever see me walking around, you'll see me looking all the time. I don't do it when I'm on camera. I look at I've got a sense, and I'm always looking around. And that's through my days of shooting, being brought up in the countryside, and not trusting. I grew up not trusting a lot of you guys. I had to find good people. So, a little about how I grew up. And a lot more. So, it goes round in a circle, blah blah, and then he shoots off, and I thought, oh, what was that about? And I didn't like that, because I could tell there was something wrong. And anyway, I thought nothing about it. I thought, oh, we're on we're on his way to the Great Mall of Asia. We'll get to Great Mall of Asia, and I can meet my friends. Anyway, he stops at the back of this big white factories. Funnily enough, or strangely enough, coming back from the Great Mall of Asia, we passed this place where the scam took place. So I stopped him and, the Great Mall of Asia's there, sir. Like I said, I'm no fool, right? No fool. The Great Mall of Asia there, sir. I said, where? Where's the Great Mall of Asia? Don't forget, I got dropped off at the back of the Great Mall of Asia. This guy doesn't know that. When I first came into the Philippines, I think the day before, I said, where's the Great Mall of Asia? Over there, sir, in the trees. I said, that's not the Great Mall of Asia. He says, that's 1,000 pesos, sir. Well, it would have been actually the fare from where he actually dropped me. The true fare would have been, it would have been no more than 30 pesos. It were a 30 peso fare. And he said, 1,000 pesos, sir. I said, where's the Great Mall? He says, it's in there. I said, it's not in them trees. Just, I can see through the trees. The trees were a long, long way away, across some fields. Or, as I remember, across some roads, across some fields. I says, there's no Great Mall of Asia there. He says, that's 1,000 pesos, sir. There's a taxi, and there's a white taxi, and it's quite a way away. And I could hear this white taxi shouting, sir, the Great Mall of Asia's not there. And I thought, well, how can this guy hear what this guy's saying? And this guy's looking at this taxi driver, looking at me. 1,000 pesos, sir. I said, no. I said, no, it's a scam. I says, 500. And I got hold of the guy. And I said, it's 500 pesos. And I said, got hold of the guy. And I says, it's 500 pesos. And that's all you're getting, and you're lucky I'm paying you. And I thought, and he smiled, and they were happy with 500 pesos, and off he went. So I walked off the taxi driver, and as I'm looking at you now, just looked at him. I went, "Hi, hello." I says, "Can you take me to the..." He says, "Sir, this is not the Great Mall of Asia." I says, "I know." He says, "The Great Mall of Asia," and he's chatting away, and I said, "Can you take me to the Great Mall of Asia? I'm in a hurry, I'm in a rush to get there." "Yes, get in, sir." And I were really mad at this time, because I knew what this guy had done. And then I clicked on, and I was thinking, wow, how does this taxi driver know what this guy's saying? And we got to the Great Mall of Asia, and I'm rushing to get to Great Mall of Asia to meet these two friends. And my phone's ringing, and it's ringing all the time. It's the two friends. They're in the Great Mall of Asia. They've probably been there an hour or so, maybe a couple of hours or so, and they keep ringing my phone. And I thought, wow, I'm actually not going to get there. And I'm answering the phone, and they're saying, "You're not here in the Philippines. We know you're not here in the Philippines. You know, you're just lying." I says, "No, I'm on the way. I'm in a taxi. I'm coming to the Great Mall of Asia. I'll meet you at the main doors. Can't remember if said meet me at the main doors or main gates." So I actually in this white taxi, and the white taxi takes me to the main doors, to the main gate. And I said to "That's Joveline, Jov's Vlogs, it's just walked in." And I said, they stopped at the main gates at the Great Mall of Asia. The gates, doors, can't remember what we call them. And I said to the taxi driver, said, "That's 1,000 pesos, sir." I says, 1,000 pesos? And then I lost my temper. I said, 1,000. You know, this was really dangerous. Where the guy actually dropped me, this was a really dangerous scam. If this had been in the morning, this had been late at night, I could have been in really big trouble, you know. And before I actually go any further, I'll chat after this. So, "It's a scam." I said, "No, it's a scam." I says, "The tricycle driver and you're in it together." I says, "I can remember the tricycle driver going round in a circle." I said, "And he's chatting to you, and I know it's a scam." And he's smiling. I says, "One day," I says, "here's your 1,000 pesos. I gave him 1,000 pesos. I could have just not paid him and walked off, and he wouldn't have done anything about it. And if he did, we'd have had complications, right?" And I said to him, "Here's your 1,000 pesos. One day I'll blog this on YouTube." And he just smiled, and he knew I'd caught the scam. And off he went. Right, so before I go any further, so that were a dirty scam, another dirty scam. And like I said, it could have been a really dangerous scam. You know, I've got this guy in a tricycle dropping me off at the back of these, I don't know if they were factories, back of an hotel, I don't know what the building was. It were a white building, and it was secluded. And you know, before I go any further, if you want, second part coming up. So there's a second part coming up. But you know, and I'll chat about this as well. There's another murder now here in the Philippines. God bless, young girl, 23-year-old, a young lady. She's actually being murdered in, is it Boracay? I think it's Boracay. I think she came to a wedding here in the Philippines, a friend's wedding, and it was in Boracay, and she got killed. I'll chat about that in the next video, but God bless. So we're running on 29 minutes now, and I'm going to actually come back into another scam that I've already chatted about. And this scam, I won't get in a white taxi. I will not get in a white taxi. Now, I went to Bacolod City last year, and I was walking around Libertad, and we were walking up through Libertad to catch the bus back to Mercia, because we lived in Mercia. We live near the plaza in the Mercia. We were there a year and a half. We lived there, and we're catching as anyway. Like I said, I won't get in a white taxi. Walking round Libertad, sir, taxi. I went, no, I will not get in a white taxi. Every white taxi I have ever been in, and I've been in a few, it all comes to a scam. Take care, God bless. I haven't heard yet of the British Embassy. We're on a Wednesday, maybe tomorrow, the day I've got another video to upload either today or tomorrow. It's already on YouTube waiting to be gone to public, so please make a comment. So these scams, first scam, airport, 5,000 pesos, 6,000 pesos, and I actually got to my hotel for I think less than 500 pesos, and that's the scam. Right guys, take care, it's a follow on, have a great day, please like, please subscribe, please help support in the way of a dollar.